I want to talk today about a little unit I was given, and this is my attempt to make sleeping in the tent overnight more comfortable. Now, when you see these little units advertised, they have different names as seen on TV. It shows the people with euphoric looks on their face with their hair blowing back. Well, this is not suitable for a whole room air conditioner. But I did want to see just if it would work to cool down the tent. So this has 3 speeds, and the way this thing usually works is this little interior compartment is to be soaked in cold water. And when you plug it in, the fan will blow the cold water through the unit, and it will create a small mist, sort of similar to when you're at some sort of amusement park and they have the big fans that blow the cooling mist. I wanted to see if I could do that to not create condensation, but a cooling sensation in the tent. So I tried a couple of these plans out in a prep test situation in my closed small bathroom. So the first thing I did, I knew that as soon as the water was room temperature, this wasn't going to be working. So my first attempt was that I filled the bottom compartment, and you can see it does have measurements for water, with ice cubes. So I let it run on high, plugged in. I believe it was about 20-25 minutes with ice cubes, and that did have a cooling effect. It was not bad, so I was encouraged. So the ice cubes, though, still created a problem on a campsite. So my next plan of attack was one of these little things. This would create less condensation and less water being blown in a mist, so I wouldn't have the condensation in my tent. So I opened it up, and instead of ice or cold water, I put that down into the compartment. And you can see there is a fan that will blow from the back through the little vented space. And I thought, I think I've got it. It didn't create the condensation on my test. And I thought, okay, now to compare the closed bathroom with a closed tent, it wasn't a good comparison, but it wasn't the same as having an entire room, which I knew wasn't going to work. So my next plan of attack was I was going to try to measure. So I brought a thermometer out to see what the temperature was like in the tent. And since I normally have power banks and fans or USB fans in my tent, I went ahead and hooked this. There's a place in the top with a little S hook, and I put this in one of the pouches. Now, I did try to hook the little unit into my power bank. Although it does have a USB port, it didn't have enough power. So it worked all right to put this in a pocket and plug the fan in, and I had them running to help circulate the air. So I closed the fly and the door and the side windows. So I had this frozen. Now, since the power bank wasn't going to run this, and it's not rechargeable, I then was faced with how to power it. So I have a small Blue Eddy that does have a USB port. No problem at all. No problem at all. It drained very little. So I was all set. Now came the moment of truth. I turned it on. I turned the fan on high, and I sat in the tent with the thermometer in the same amount of time that I had it in the bathroom. It came down about 4 degrees, which isn't a lot, but if I am rolling around in the hot tent trying to get comfortable, I decided that 4 degrees and the added benefit of having it blow the cold air across my body was more pleasant than doing without it. Since I have fans anyway, the fan that ran the little bit of cool to me was a win. So it doesn't cool it significantly, but it is pleasant, and like I said, I have fans running anyway, so why not have one that did have the little bit of cool sensation? So the people that told me that it wasn't going to work, yes, it doesn't cool it as an air conditioner would, but I'm outside in a tent that isn't sealed, so it's cooler than just blowing a fan in a tent. So that to me was a win. If you have an opinion, or if you've had experience with these, I'd really appreciate it if you leave your opinion in the comments, and if you would like and share this video. I appreciate anything that any feedback that you have to give me. And so have a nice night, and I'll see you on another.